Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Diane Deziel, and in today's video I'm going to answer a question I got from Tricia. I'm going to show you how to make the pattern of a palazzo pant. To do the pattern of a palazzo pant, there's many techniques and often it involves to have gathers at the waist, but I think it gives a little more sporty look. So I'm going to show you how to do a nice classic plain palazzo pant using your basic block pattern, and the method I'm using is a pivoting. As you know, if you watch my other video on pivoting, you could transfer a dart anywhere in the contour of a pattern piece. In that case, I'm going to pivot the dart at the bottom to get some flare. If you do have your flare only on the side seam, it's possible also, but remember it's going to fall back only at the side seam. If you open the middle of the leg to have your flare centered, it's going to be more distributed and it's going to fall much better. So I'll be starting with the front. On your block you should trace your grain line, and if your grain line is not at the right place, make sure you make a line parallel to the grain, touching the pivot of your dart all the way down to the bottom of the block. Then trace from the first side of the notch all the way down to the grain line at the bottom of the pant. Then hold the pivot and close your dart. You could trace the second part, so all the side piece from the dart notch all the way down to the middle, the grain line at the bottom of the pant. My block had the seam allowance and hem, so just for you to be conscious about the hem, I'm going to retrace the bottom of the pant on both sides. And I'm going to ask you to measure from one grain line point to the other to find out how much opening you have. I got about 21 centimeters. Write it down because you're going to have to do the same thing on the back, the same opening in the back. Your grain line should be at the half point of this opening, connecting with the pivot point of your dart. And of course, this pattern piece has to be cut 2 times. Now to complete the pattern, of course, you have to close this wide opening just with your French curve from one point to the other with a nice soft line. Now your palazzo pant is done, but if you feel that you want to add some more, you could add a little bit at the side seam and a little bit at the inseam. Since it's a long pant, I'm going to use my meter over my square, and I'm going to place my square on the hemline, so one or the other, straight on the hemline, and I'm going to move it until I touch my side seam notch at the hip level. And that's how much you could add extra on the side seam without having to flare. I got 3.4 cm. Now if we do pretty much the same thing at the inseam, turn it around and put the bottom of your square on the hemline and move it until you reach not the crotch area, but I would say from the knee to the crotch, pretty much the first third from the knee, because this area here, most of the time your legs are one next to the other, so you don't really need extra fabric over here. Move your both meter and square until you touch your 1/3, and this is how much you could add. This measurement would be 2.9 centimeters. Now I think you have a nice full palazzo pant. Your front pattern is finished. For the back, we're going to start on the side of the big dart at the notch. Trace from the notch, go over the second dart, the smallest one, without even doing the notches, and go all the way to the grain line at the bottom. Then you're going to hold your pivot of the big dart and close it. Now before tracing the second part, I want you to hold your ruler from the grain line, move to the grain line that you had at the beginning. So just check the measurement. For mine, it's exactly what I need. So my 21, just like the front pattern. If the measurement is bigger than what you got in the front, I suggest you just reopen the dart until you reach the measurement of the front opening. When it's done, you're going to just trace the second part. So while your pant is there, just find the middle at the bottom, hold your pivot again, and just reopen the dart to place grain line on the middle point and indicate your grain line. Now at the bottom, just like we did on the front, connect both sides of the opening with a very soft curve. Then before we forget, at the waist, if you remember on the block you had a 2 centimeter dart that we just didn't do. We're going to move it at the position of the big dart. So just take this measurement. I had a 2 centimeter dart. I'm going to place it from the closed dart towards the side seam. So I'm just moving the value, and you do have the reference of your pivoting, so the original pivot of the dart. Just trace your dart. So my dart that was there is moved to the original position. Why? Because that's where we need it the most. So now what we have left to do is just hold the dart and fix your waist to have a nice and smooth curve. While it's fold, just trace to get the new jug of the dart. So the punch hole will be at least 1 centimeter higher, and you have your 2 notches for the dart. Now to complete the pattern, if you remember on my front, I did go out 3.4 on the side seam. So let me do the same thing over here. On my side seam, 3.4. And just like I did for the front, I'm going to trace my final line. And for this one, I would retrace a straight line from the 3.4 out to the hip notch on the side seam. Then of course, fix the bottom. Now if I look at my front again, you're going to see that I had a 2.9. So I will do the same thing on my back, inseam 2.9. I will trace also my hemline, so 2.9. And here again, I will do pretty much the 1/3 for the distance. And now you will be able to connect that 2.9 at the inseam to pretty much the 1/3 at the crotch level. But since back and front are different, back is going out much more than the front. Just to have a nice shape, I suggest that you keep your ruler about 1 centimeter inside and trace, and then slowly move the ruler so you go meet the final destination. Now for this one also, I'm going to finish my corner. And your back pattern is also going to be cut 2 times. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy. Make sure you watch my next video. I'm answering another question from Tricia. I'm going to show you how to make a high waist pant or skirt. Thanks for watching. I see you next time.